Who are you? I'm Saw Gerrera.
You continue to fight. What will you become?
Alright, with Rogue One opening this week, I thought it'd be a good idea to go over one of its characters. What? You already know about a character? Yes, and I'm not talking about the characters that are actually covered in Rogue One Catalyst, which you can go read, and it actually takes the events all lead up to Rogue One. So there are many people suggesting that you go ahead and read that, and frankly I would if I could afford to get the book right now, but sadly I gotta wait, and I'm impatient on watching Rogue One, so I'll likely see that within the next day or so. However, that being said, we are going to discuss who is Saw Gerrera. Now, for those of you that you might have seen some of the videos way back in June and July, I'm sorry, I'm just getting around to it, but I thought it'd be more relevant to talk about this character now that we're actually approaching the movie versus back then where you're likely to forget. So he first appeared in the 5th season of the Clone Wars, and he was a loyal follower of King Ramses Denap, a monarch of Onderon, who tried to keep his world out of the Clone Wars. Saw too did not want to see his people thrust into galactic warfare. However, Denap would later be ousted from the throne and replaced by King Sanjay Rash, and I apologize for getting any of these names wrong. And upon this happening, the Confederacy came to Onderon. Refusing to accept this new king, Saw Gerrera rebelled before being cast out with his sister Steela. The siblings, along with Lux Bantiri, son of the late Senator Mina Bantiri, formed a resistance movement. Seeking help, they contacted the Jedi High Council asking for reinforcements. However, the council had their forces spread too thin as they were with other systems, and some worried that Saw was a bit of an extremeness in his methods. So instead, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka Tano, who, if you don't know about her, you most certainly should know about her, but Ahsoka Tano, and then you had some clone troopers that were sent to train them how to fight back against the Separatists. But they were simply there to do the training, not partake exactly in the war. So, anyway, all of that being said, Saw and the others were quick studies, learning the techniques necessary, and soon fighting droids in the streets of Isis. During a solo rescue attempt of the king, Saw was captured and tortured for information, but he would not give over any information and was later sentenced to death. He would be freed from execution, however, by his sister, who had taken over leadership of their resistance and the other fighters, only to watch her then die in a battle in the Highlands shortly afterwards. They would, however, end up reclaiming the planet. So, you know, the thing about him, he's actually mentioned in a couple things. I think he's mentioned in Rebels, as well as mentioned briefly in Bloodlines. And the thing about it is, even though he was one of the first kind of rebellion factions that started up, especially when the Empire came out and took over, he's viewed by both sides as being an extremist and a terrorist in many ways in his methods. So it's very interesting to see where exactly he falls in line with Rogue One. Given that I haven't seen the movie or read the book beforehand, I'm not entirely sure how he would work, but obviously the fact that he's in the movie seems to indicate that he has in some way helping and stealing the plans for the Death Star. Now the curious thing is, of course, that he came from Clone Wars. That's where he started off, was the 5th season of Clone Wars. So he's our first kind of animated character that was animated first and then brought to the big screen, which is very cool. This also shows that the actual that people are connecting everything, that the show is connected to the movies and the books are connected to the movies and the shows, and everything is connected together. So you see where they're trying to do that. And in fact, the people that wanted to put him in this movie in Rogue One went back and watched the episodes of Clone Wars that had him in it so that they could better establish his character in this movie. And they also were able to go and talk to Dave Filoni, who was the overall creator of the Clone Wars, if they had any questions about the character at all. So you really see that they're going into a lot of detail here, trying to make things add up. Now the curious thing is whether we'll see anyone else. that is definitely a big question on the list. I'm not sure what the answer is there, but I do hope that this is the start of seeing other characters like perhaps Ahsoka Tano show up in one of these live action movies, because I think doing a crossover like that is really cool. And of course it's more cool for the people that are, you know, paying attention to everything in Star Wars up point, but I think even for those that are not, seeing these characters and actually following these characters on screen would be an interesting idea. But that is all for Saw Gerrera, played by Forrest Whitaker now in Rogue One. So hopefully he does a good job. What did you guys think? I mean, do you want to see kind of the crossover happening where we get some animated characters or maybe some book characters come to the big screen? Or, you know, did you know anything about Saw Gerrera beforehand? Hopefully this has taught you something. And if you are interested, please go check out Clone Wars, because that is a brilliant series in my opinion. And it really does a lot to flesh out many characters from the prequel trilogy all the way up to characters that'll show up in Rebels and establish more of the lore of Star Wars, which I'm all about. So if you're in any way interested in that kind of thing, go check it out. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If so, click that like button, share, subscribe to my channel, and watch my other vids. I do appreciate it. Also, if you want to be a Patreon supporter, go ahead and click in the link down in the description here, where you can go and be a supporter of me and all my videos that I do. I really appreciate any amount that you do, no matter how big or how small, and I appreciate any consideration you get. Thanks so much, guys, and until next time, may the Force be with you.